With the 57th pick in the NFL draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selected Goedeke, which was kind of a surprise a little bit. I mean, for one thing, a lot of people liked one of his teammates a lot more, Bernard Raymond. I'm one of those people. I really liked Raymond and was surprised he was still on the board at that point, but they went a different route, going with a right tackle who they probably will have play guard, which is interesting. I think a lot of people were, with the Buccaneers, were kind of thinking, okay, they're probably hoping they can get a Zion Johnson to fall to them, a Kenyon Green to fall to them, which a lot of people were high on. Neither one of those guys did fall to Tampa Bay, but they got a player who I'm very fascinated by. But I think both his film and his advanced statistics check out, and he's maybe, honestly, getting a bit slept on, because I think he's actually, there's a lot to like about him. So first, let's talk about his numbers. So these are some of his statistics here. These are going to be these are PFF grades, which I know not everyone loves PFF grades, but they actually do a pretty good job of, guys who are good at this kind of stuff at college tend to be pretty good at this at the NFL level. And what's interesting is, so you see his numbers, and it's all pretty good with the exception of pass block grade, which isn't spectacular, but his run block grade, a really impressive 94.3, and then zone grade and gap grades are both over 90 as well, which are all, very much, of the best, in college last year. Pass blocking grade, not spectacular, but again, let's keep in mind, he's probably not going to be playing right tackle. He's probably going to be playing guard, which could make things easier on him. Let's get into some film. I do kind of see how some issues could arise with him at tackle, and why he probably will be transitioned to guard is you're going to see him be one-on-one blocking right here, and it's going to kind of be maybe a speed thing a little bit. Watch how right when this play begins, and a relatively explosive play by the edge rusher, and Goedeke is going to be a little bit slow in just getting over. So, maybe not quite as explosive as some of these other guys are, not quite as explosive as some other tackles are. And so because of that, you can't exactly get the hand placement he wants. It's not horrible either. Look, he does hold on and push that player behind his quarterback, but you do kind of wonder at the NFL level, could some problems arise? It wasn't a big issue at the college level, but, and I still think that there's some impressiveness in him being able to come back and win once he was in a bad spot, but those are probably some issues. But going over here to a play like this is where you really saw the benefits of Goedeke, where he's going to be going up one-on-one, and this play is actually just kind of funny, where watch what's going to happen. Right when this play begins, you see number 18, the defensive player who's going up against, ends up getting his hand right on Goedeke's face mask. Really, this is hands to the face. This is a penalty. But even with that, and I thought he did a pretty good job of getting Goedeke to, push back a little bit at the beginning. However, one thing that Goedeke is doing is he has his left arm kind of underneath number 18's right arm, which is going to allow him to kind of just plant his feet, and he's not really going to give up much from this point on. Watch how, the ball gets thrown there, and also, defensive player tried to do kind of like the spin move type thing, but I think that he did a good job of being able to hold on, and I don't think that he's someone who you're really going to just completely overpower necessarily, which I think some people, that's good. Let's go over to something like this now, where this is an interesting play. So what we're going to see here is a twist or a stunt, whatever you want to call it. Watch Goedeke at first here, right when this play begins. So you see how he goes to block the edge rusher, but I've circled 3 players in that box. There is Goedeke, the edge rusher he's currently blocking, and an interior defensive lineman who's now going to go to the outside and try to get around Goedeke. That's how this works. Watch how Goedeke gets back and is able to help finish off that block, and that's something that definitely will be a very important tool for him at the NFL level, especially when he's playing guard, is those, twists and stunts happen all the time. So the fact that he can get over and, make stuff like that happen will become a lot more important if you're playing guard, which if I'm assuming he's doing. Again, I can't imagine that Donovan Smith or Tristan Wirfs are losing their jobs, so it seems like it's going to be a guard scenario. And I think he could be very good at that stuff. Finally, let's move on to something like this. This is kind of the main way that I think he'll be effective so it's going to be a one-on-one block, and watch what happens. As you see, he is able to just sort of, get to the side right there and clear out a running lane the way you exactly want to. He's a very good run blocker, and this is something that could work. Now, the run didn't actually go towards his gap, but that's fine. Again, we're just evaluating him as a player, and I thought that he did a good job, and that's kind of, again, part of what I like about him is he does seemingly is someone who could be a good run blocker. And one last thing I will say, I do think this is, for the most part, relatively fair to hold against him. It's what you see on the screen. This is where he is on his consensus draft board ranking was pick 106. So he goes at 57, so nearly 50 spots higher than he was considered to go. This is kind of the one thing that I do feel like isn't great. It feels like this was a bit of a reach, and Tampa Bay could have maybe gotten him later on. Now, when you're reaching outside of a top 50 pick, I feel a little bit less bad about it. There is, to some degree, it's a bit of a crapshoot once you get there. But I still think that, like, it's probably fair to say you could have maybe gotten a higher, more hyped up prospect and still gotten him later on. But again, who knows exactly how that works. But typically, more often than not, when you reach on someone like this, according to the draft consensus board, the consensus board is actually more likely to be right than the reach itself. There is a bit of a projection with someone like him, just because you don't know exactly how well he will fit in at the guard position at the NFL level. I mean, there's projection with everybody to some degree, right? There is some projection, but the one thing that I like about him is he does have evidence to show that he's been a good college player. And if you're a good college player at the offensive or defensive line position, there's a good chance you will be a good NFL player. That's just what there's evidence to support that, and I believe in that evidence. So that's kind of the first reason why I'm optimistic about this move, and it's actually something very similar to what the Buccaneers did with Tristan Wirfs. Wirfs was a lot better at the college level. Wirfs was amazing at the college level, and then was amazing at the NFL level, right? So not to say he will be Wirfs, but he could be someone who, like Wirfs, could actually have an immediate impact right away and won't be one of these developmental guys at the offensive line position, which is nice because you need someone to be good now. This might be the last year of your championship window. We don't know how long Brady is going to play for. There's plenty of logic to believe this could be his last year. And so if it is, like, you got to just get guys who can play right now. And he is somebody who can play right now, and he fills up an important need. They needed one more guard. And because they already traded for Shaq Mason, they lost, obviously, Kappa and Marpet, their two starting guards from last year, so they had to replace them both. And, Shaq Mason, will he be Ali Marpet? They're in the ballpark. So the hope with Goedeke is that he could be Alex Kappa, which is a lot to ask of a late second-round pick. You can't just expect him to come in and be like a good quality guard. Like, that's a lot to ask of someone. But there's reason to like him. I mean, listen. Last year, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers spent a late second-round pick on a third-string quarterback, right? So I think they're certainly getting someone who will help them out more this year than they did last year with that pick. That's kind of what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts on this signing? Always love hearing from you. And, of course, as always, thanks for watching.